Good morning, my name is Andy and this is Electric Petrolhead. Good old DailyMail are at it again. And not the DailyMail, the actual DailyMail article is alright. It's the comments. You should never ever go and read comments pretty much anywhere on the internet. But it came up and I thought I'll have a quick look because in a roundabout way it's quite useful to understand what people are doing. Anyway, this is the article. It's about this new charging station in Essex. And it's basically a service centre just for electric cars. It is what me and pretty much every electric car owner I know just wants. Go into a service station and there's no lorries, well, no diesel lorries, no petrol cars, nice fresh air in the countryside. It's wonderful. Right, so it's going to be part of the £1 billion nationwide network. It's 2.5 acres and it's been built with 24 charging points. Now that's the bit that they first pick up on. But anyway, let's go to the comments and see how awful these are. Well, I'm going to be polite. I'm going to sort of blank out the comments so that you can't see who's written them. Not that they care. Anyway, okay. Comment number 1. Someone in Glasgow says, diesel all the way for me. And then someone in Manchester says, me too, I don't want to wait half an hour to charge my car. But I bet you are waiting to have your lunch, aren't you? Are you eating your lunch as you're driving at 70 miles an hour up the motorway? If you are, you're an idiot. Every normal person, they stop, they park their car. Well, no. This is what normally happens with a diesel or petrol car on a road trip. You drive in, go to the petrol station, you fill up with petrol, you then pay. Then you get back in your petrol car and you drive around to a car park, you park your car, and then you leave the car there and you go in and have lunch. In all that time you've been faffing around doing, petrol, which is probably 10 minutes. Electric car owners had 10 minutes of charge and they've not had to stand there inhaling all these fumes. It's just better. Honestly, electric cars are better. And this is what is really hard to get across to some people. But anyway, that's the first comment. And that was a bit of an easy one. So let's move on to number 2. Okay, next comment from someone in Bristol. 20 to 30 minutes might take you a couple of miles. I'll stick to petrol. 3 minutes maximum, enough fuel for a fortnight. Honestly, people like this, they just don't... This is why I did this channel. So I'm yet another voice explaining how electric cars work in an unbiased way from my own experiences. And for most of the time, I charge at home. And yes, there's people in apartments, but they can charge at the supermarket, or they can charge at work, or they can charge, while they're going shopping. For most, not most, but I think it is actually. I think statistically, most people have access to a driveway in the UK. So for those people, you're going to be able to charge at home overnight. The amount of time it takes you to charge your car is 0. Well, literally 5 seconds just to plug it in as you come home at night. And then in the morning it's charged up. So yeah, this is all just rubbish. Right, next question. Imagine the queues when everyone has an electric car. Well, no, this is going back to the same point we've just made. If everyone has an electric car, then the majority of those people are going to be charging at home. So they're not going to be queuing. Then another thing's going to happen. Supermarket car parks and multi-storey car parks are going to have a charge point at every single parking bay. And people are just going to keep topped up. So no, there's not going to be a massive queue because it's not the same situation. No one has a petrol station on their driveway. But I do for my electric cars. So this is the same for... my mate Rob around the corner, my mate Chris over there, my mate Will over there. All these people have driveways and are charging their electric cars. They very rarely use public chargers. And if they do, it's on a road trip. And those type of restaurants and service stations are going to be geared up for having more people. Because guess what? It's quite easy to add another charger. It's just a little bit of more money and a little bit more infrastructure. But these service stations are set up with the idea that there's going to be hundreds and hundreds of chargers in the future. So yeah, there's not going to be queues because everyone is trying to charge their car at the same time. So don't worry about it. Right, next comment's actually a positive comment about what the current situation is. It's from a guy in Ipswich and he says, fantastic, there needs to be a real push to roll these out across the UK ASAP. Guess what? It's had 2 up likes and 24 down likes. This just goes to show that the type of people who are going into the comments Unlike people like me that just randomly go in there now. But the people who go in there all the time, they're just negative. Like, why? Just be positive. This would be good. And there's another one saying, Sam Swindon, it'd be interesting to see how many EV owners use these electric forecourts, and is it cost effective to the owners of these forecourts, unless the government's going to plough taxpayers' money to make sure it does work. Now, this is an interesting thing, because electric car owners are going to use these on road trips, but they're not going to be using these day to day because it is quite a lot more money. If you look at one of my other videos, I compare like a top 10 example of the cost of charging in the UK. And for me, it is so much cheaper to just charge at home on Octopus Energy. It's literally normally averages out about 5p a unit, which is so much cheaper than going to, say, an Instavolt or Ionity or anyone there, which can be sort of 30 pence or more per unit. So 6 times more expensive. So again, these service stations are going to be used by people on road trips and, you know, people who are having meetings there and all sorts of things like this. They're not going to be used by people who live 5 miles down the road, because it's a lot cheaper to sort of charge at home, or go to a supermarket and charge, because they're often a lot cheaper. You know, going and charging at, you know, a peak priced electric car charger is not something that people should be doing regularly. And because of that, the demand's going to be a lot lower. However, if I'm traveling past this place and I don't need a charge, but I, you know, fancy a break for 5 minutes just to get a, you know, coffee or something, then yeah, I'll probably go here and support this business rather than going to a normal motorway service station and have to, you know, fight through a car park of petrol and diesel cars and nearly get run over by lorries and things. So these type of things are really great. Right, let's see if I can get some more. Yep, we got more rubbish here. So someone says, let's save the planet by destroying and concreting over 2.5 acres of land, as opposed to just keep using petrol and diesel. There's a lot of rubbish talk. I think it's because people don't see how petrol and diesel are created. You know, they don't see the oil fields because they're not on their doorstep, but they do go past you know, a solar panel installation or see a wind turbine and think, oh, they're so ugly. Oh, come on. You know, you've got to realise the bigger picture here. It's very frustrating, but, you know, and that gets loads of likes, and there's someone else says you should only need an area the size of Ireland to charge all the cars in London. What? Honestly, it's quite demoralising when you see stuff like this. Someone says, lol, idiots, can fill my car in 5 minutes, last me 2 weeks, petrol the future. Yeah, I don't even take 5 minutes to charge my electric car. It's literally 10 seconds. To do 2 weeks, I'd probably charge 4 times, so 40 seconds, better than 5 minutes. It's just the reality of this. It's just education. It's what I've always said. You need to get bums in seats, and you need to get people to try the cars, and this is why I completely unbiasedly support the EVEC in Milton Keynes. Initiatives like that are brilliant. Get people driving the cars, experiencing the cars, see how easy the chargers are to work. So you need to do that, and then you need to educate people. And this is one of the things that, you know, I do this as just a bit of a hobby. I've seen a few comments on this. They're all obsessed by how much space this service station takes up. It says 2.5 acres, ridiculous. Like, what? I don't understand the problem. You know, you need space to park cars. You know, they're building an enormous car park for lorries because of the stupid thing that's Brexit, you know, and all the queues that are going to be created trying to get across the English Channel. And yet they're moaning about 2.5 acres for a service station. I bet they don't complain about when they go up the M6 toll and there's a massive service station there. I'm pretty sure that's more than 2.5 acres. But someone from Exeter says, hardly anyone is buying electric cars, only the usual deluded ones. Must have woken up to the absolute con this all is. Honestly, these people need to try electric cars and they realise they're a lot better to drive. They need to realise how much cheaper they are to run. They need to realise they're not pumping out poisonous gases into their neighbourhood and past schools and past playgrounds whenever they're driving. I just don't think people like change, and this is the problem. And the, you know, DailyMail and everything else is going to, you know, lap that up because people get their knickers in a twist and start moaning. But that's actually one of the best rated comments, frustratingly. Okay, someone from Bexhill says there's going to be a very long queue for those services, just 24 charging points. That's what they're starting with. These, like, they're going to have a situation where every single parking space has a charger. and there'll probably be hundreds of spaces when the demand is there. They're not going to spend, 5 figures per rapid charger if no one's using them. The idea is these places exist, people start going, and guess what? They can use the data from the chargers to learn how many people are using them, and then they can roll out more of them. It's not difficult to install more chargers. Someone who says escape from London. EV batteries last 10 years max before the car has to be scrapped, even less if using these superchargers would cane the battery life. That's not true anymore. What happened when Renault introduced their first electric cars is they gave people the option, well, I don't think you had the option, I think you had to lease the battery. This wasn't because they were assuming the batteries were going to be screwed. This was a way of just making it easier for people to get into electric cars and take away the possible worry of this, batteries, falling apart after 5 years or something. The reality is that didn't happen, and these batteries last for ages. And, there are batteries with well over 100,000 miles. Some, crikey, there's Teslas with nearly 1 million miles on them now. And the latest Tesla batteries are supposed to last 1 million miles. Like, how many cars do you know that get scrapped with 1 million miles? Basically none. Most cars that get scrapped seem to have, say, 200 to 300,000 miles on them. And the batteries will easily outlast that. And they'll just get moved over onto another car because they can be recycled. Unlike petrol and diesel, which you just burn once and then it's gone. Yeah. Problem is, you're not going to convince these type of people. I just thought it'd be a fun video, just to sort of go through the comments and just see what people are going. Yeah, so this is a frustrating thing. Someone says, surely the battery pack could just be changed. And it's got 9 down and 2 up. Very frustrating. Someone from Dublin has said, I watched a guy sitting and waiting 40 minutes to charge his car, whereas diesel and petrol rolled in and out of the forecourt within minutes. Yeah, and I watch people every single day queuing up to get into petrol stations near where I live, and I've just driven past with a full battery. So you've got to realise that just because you see one person sat there, he may have had a 3 or 4 hour drive and is actually just sitting back, and if he's got a Tesla, he's watching Netflix. Because he wants a break. People should be having a break anyway. What we're saying as electric car owners and fans is when your car is stationary, plug it in. Because you're not going to be driving it then. Get some energy back in when you're not doing something else. Someone from Bristol says, no mention of how much less an electric car costs to service. That's a very good point, because they do cost a lot less to service. And someone else says, yeah, their batteries are guaranteed for 8 years, which is great. And people down like that. Like, why are you down liking someone saying you get a warranty? Oh, dear. Okay, last comment. And this is probably the highest. No, it's not. This is one of the highest rated ones. So, hydrogen is the future. Okay, hydrogen needs to be created, which is a very inefficient process at the moment. It needs to be transported and put into tanks at a petrol station where it is then transferred over onto your vehicle. It's far better to just fill up at home. It really is. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you very soon. Bye.